Starting with the most important update for today. The Supreme Court today heard a batch of petitions challenging the constitutionality of the Waqf Amendment Act 2025. Over 70 petitions were listed before the bench, comprising Chief Justice of India Sanjeev Khanna, Justice Sanjay Kumar and Justice KV Vishwanathan. AIMIM MP Asauddin Owaisi, Congress MP Mohammad Javed, RJD MP Manoj Kumar Jha, TMC MP Maua Moitra, All India Muslim Personal Law Board, Jamaat Ulema-e-Hind, etc. are some of the petitioners. The states of Rajasthan, Gujarat, Haryana, Maharashtra, Assam, Uttarakhand and Chhattisgarh have filed intervention applications supporting the act. The central government has also filed a caveat. Senior advocate Kapil Sibal started the arguments for the petitioner's side. He opposed the requirement that a person must show 5 years of practicing Islam to create a waqf. He argued this violates religious freedoms. If someone is born Muslim, why must they prove their faith? He contended that the words "in accordance with law" cannot override personal law. He challenged the proviso that waqf by user remains valid only if there is no dispute or government claim. Sibal argued that this undermines waqf created through traditional use, which is central to Islamic practice. Objecting to the clause that waqf cannot override inheritance rights of women, Sibal said inheritance in Islam occurs only after death and that the state has no authority to interfere before that. The CJI here responded, saying that Parliament has passed laws affecting all communities under its powers. Sibal further criticized provisions allowing the government to declare property as its own without a time limit, calling it unconstitutional. He added that appointing a government officer to make such determinations violates neutrality. Sibal also objected to the rule that a waqf declaration is void if the land is later declared a protected monument. The CJI clarified that existing waqf status would remain unaffected unless the monument status came first. Sibal argued that waqf by user, a practice where personal property used for religious purposes becomes waqf, has been unjustly abolished. Requiring registration, he said, interferes with religious tradition, especially when old waqf may not have formal deeds. He flagged concerns that decisions under this section could take up to 20 years and don't clearly allow court challenge. At this point, Solicitor General Tushar Mehta said that the Act specifically provides for judicial review. Several senior advocates raised constitutional and religious freedom concerns in their arguments. Dr. Abhishek Manu Singhvi argued that the definition of collector is overly broad and the term contrivance used in the Act creates unnecessary bureaucracy. He emphasized that this case squarely falls under Articles 25 and 26, making it apt for Article 32 jurisdiction. Senior advocate C.U. Singh stressed that Article 26, unlike Article 25, protects religious and charitable institutions without requiring proof of essential religious practice and cited precedents like Shrihur Mutt to assert that the state cannot interfere in religious affairs. Senior advocate Rajiv Shakdar questioned the 5-year probationary requirement for certifying someone as Muslim under Section 3R, calling it a problematic intrusion into religious identity. Advocate Huzaifa Ahmadi added that changing the definition of waqf and introducing a practicing Islam condition undermines religious freedom and may effectively suspend waqf rights. Further, advocate Sanjay Hegde recalled historical struggles like the Akali Dal movement to highlight the consequences of removing community control over religious properties. Further in the hearing, Solicitor General Tushar Mehta defended the Waqf Amendment Act by stating that the central government has always had the power to nominate members to the Waqf board, even under the earlier law. On the issue of Waqf by user, he acknowledged that misuse exists, but argued that this cannot mean genuine Waqf by user does not exist. He also pointed out that Muslims today have the freedom to create trusts instead of Waqf and cited judgments from the Hyderabad Nizam era to support the legal evolution of Waqf. He accepted that some wording in the amendment which seemed to override court orders should be ignored. Responding to concerns about older public trusts being taken over as waqf, he said it depends on the facts and past legal judgments. He clarified that the amendment will apply to newly formed boards and not to the boards already in place. While the Chief Justice of India raised concerns about legislative overreach and retrospective invalidation of waqf, Mehta maintained that the amendments are within constitutional limits and aimed at public interest, noting that most challenges come from individual litigants and not Waqf board themselves. Let me tell you, the court today proposed an interim order stating that properties declared as Waqf by courts, whether through Waqf by user or by deed, shall not be denotified while the matter is under hearing. It also clarified that proviso in the Amendment Act which excludes a property from being treated as Waqf during a collector's inquiry into whether it is a government land will not be given effect to for now. Additionally, the court was about to direct that all members of the Waqf boards and the Central Waqf Council must be Muslims except for the ex officio members. Like I said, the CJI was about to dictate this order, but following fervent requests by the Solicitor General and Counsel for other respondents for a hearing before the interim order, the court posted the matter tomorrow. Stay tuned for further updates on this matter, and you can also visit livelaw.in to read live reporting of this important matter directly from the court.